If you've been feeling over aggressive, you have your walls up, you're defensive, you're constantly working hard, you're exhausted and restless, you may even feel a sense of greed, this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about what the divine feminine energy is and how to tap into it. My name is Emily Parr, and I'm here to heal and empower the divine being within you. Let's get into it. So before I can even get into what divine feminine energy is and how to tap into it, it's really important that we understand that the creation of our universe is a combination of both masculine and feminine energies. Every being on this planet is made up of both of these energies. So whether you are biologically male or female, you will still be a combination of both of those energies and the duality and balance of both. But where the problem lies with this society is that many of us are completely out of balance of these two energies. Which goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, which is that if you're feeling overly aggressive, very defensive, you feel super rough and tough, you have your walls up, you're constantly working hard, and you never have any time to just be in stillness and go a little bit slower, you probably have an imbalance of the energies and you're more masculine dominated. And I can say from personal experience that that was the case for me for many years. So from an astrological standpoint, and I have a whole video on Astrology 101 that you should go and check out below, there are certain signs that are deemed more masculine and certain signs that are deemed more feminine. The feminine signs include Cancer, which is the most feminine sign. It's the sign that is ruled by the moon and the mother and emotions. The other feminine signs are Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, Scorpio, and Pisces. The masculine signs are Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. So right away, when you understand your own astrology by looking up your birth chart or your natal chart, you can take a look and see if you are more masculine in your energy or more feminine in your energy. Keeping in mind, once again, it does not matter what biological body you are in, this is all energetic. This is all based off of personality, how you move, how you feel. That's what energy truly is. I just want to make it very clear that this is an LGBT positive space. I have friends that are trans. I have lots of friends that are within this community. This community is something that I feel very personally involved in. So if there's anything that you want to correct me on, please do in the comments and I will correct it. So again, it's really important to remember that you could be in a male body and feel feminine or be in a female body and feel masculine. Doesn't really matter. We're talking about energy. Now, there is a particular word that many spiritualists use to describe energy called Kundalini, which is your life force. Kundalini, or life force energy, or Qi in Chinese philosophy, has to do with your creative sexual energy. It's very much based in your sacral region, your sacral chakra. And if you want to learn more about that, I have a whole video on chakra healing with crystals. Also, Reiki is another word that you can be using for Kundalini or Qi or life force energy as well. Oftentimes, Kundalini is used to describe the awakening that happens when each of the energy centers known as chakras in your body are activated. And when you go through this Kundalini awakening, you tap more into that universal energy or more into whichever dominant energy you feel more connected to. In this case, I'm going to be talking about the divine feminine, but if you'd like to learn more about divine masculine energy, please give this video a like and comment below, and I would be happy to do that in the future. So when you go through a Kundalini awakening, you activate those chakras and heal certain personality or energetic issues that may be holding you back. This is extremely important when it comes to your manifestation process, because oftentimes the reason why we're not manifesting the things that we want is because there's an energetic blockage within our system that needs shadow work and inner child healing around in order to go through that ascension process that happens when you have a Kundalini awakening. So right away, those are some general ways that both the divine masculine and feminine can activate their Kundalini is through shadow work and inner child work. And again, I have a whole video on that on my YouTube channel and 30 days worth of free shadow work journal prompts that you're gonna want to download on my website linked below. So, the good stuff. What is a divine feminine? Well, For starters, it's your version of what your higher self looks like in the feminine energy. So essentially, this is what the inner goddess looks like. This is your connection to a higher power, something that you believe in beyond yourself, and what that really looks like for you. So I'm going to describe what that looks like for me, but when you go through this process, you're going to find what that looks like on your own in your own unique journey. To me, the divine feminine is spiritual and sexual. She is the embodiment of what it means to be tapped into the intuition that comes solely from your womb. She acts from a place of heart-centeredness, where her vibration is in fifth dimensional consciousness, focusing on love, forgiveness, healing, humility, and compassion. She's generous, she is kind, and she is open to opportunities. She receives from the world, and she is in a state of being rather than constant doing. She is balanced between both masculine and feminine energies, meaning that she has a container to do, but she knows when to step back and allow for things to fall into place. She is slow and still. She is deeply connected to her inner darkness, and she understands that her darkness births worlds of creativity and light. The divine feminine chooses to turn her pain into wisdom, and she shares that wisdom with all. She is focused on personal growth, development, and awareness, and she experiences life through the sense of joy. She loves to dance and sing and create, and she's connected to her inner child because she understands that her inner child will ultimately drive her back to her highest self. She again understands that her womb is the most sacred part of her body, for all wisdom and intuition is stored there. She is able to heal not only herself but others from what she is able to tap into when she connects with her inner body. She transforms her darkness and integrates her shadows into her light. She rises above illusion and frees herself from any self-imposed or external limitations. She is Source herself. She knows, loves, and accepts herself on all levels and does the same for others around her. She is in a constant state of becoming. Now, with all of that said, let's talk about how to tap into divine feminine energy. So first off, and most difficult for myself personally in my journey, is becoming more vulnerable. Now, this is really difficult for those of us who are more masculine energy dominant. Being vulnerable, especially when you've been burned, is incredibly challenging to learn how to trust again and to trust your body enough to allow yourself to experience the emotions that come up during difficult moments or situations. But the truth is, vulnerability is super empowering. And when you share your voice and what you have been through, others are not only able to relate and help uplift you, but you're able to actually tackle the thing that may have been holding you back in the first place. And that just goes back to why shadow work is so important. I am the kind of person that does not like to cry. I don't have a lot of water signs within my astrology, and it's not something that necessarily flows out of me so easily. So for many years of my life, I used to look at crying as a weakness. And that's a true toxic masculine wound that doesn't serve anyone. When you prevent yourself from holding back your tears, this is usually what happens to me, is all of the stress just kind of accumulates right here in my jaw, and it almost feels like someone's like pinching it really hard, and your throat just gets all clogged up. It causes problem for your throat chakra and being able to speak your truth. So allowing yourself to be vulnerable and allowing yourself to validate those emotions when they come up is super important. But what's happened in this more patriarchal dominant society is that crying is seen as a weakness. But really, holding back those tears is what causes so many energetic issues within our body. If we don't feel safe enough and vulnerable enough to express ourselves with other people, we start a war within ourselves. The other thing too is that when you allow yourself to be vulnerable with someone that you trust or people that you trust, and you allow yourself to express those emotions in that moment, you don't have to hang on to it and let it sit and simmer inside of your body and cause all sorts of other problems that block you from being able to manifest the things that you desire. So it's better to just get it out, put it on the table, and then later on, you're able to move forward. The next step in tapping into your feminine energy that I want to talk about is nurturing yourself. I think we can all agree that feminine energy is very much nurturing energy, and that's where the Cancer energy is really good at that, because the Cancer energy is the mother influence. So take a look at what nurturing yourself means to you. Maybe it's taking that bath. Maybe it's allowing yourself a little extra time in the morning to get ready before you have to jump out of bed and put on your clothes and, slurp down your cup of coffee. Spending a little bit more time enjoying the step-by-step process of your day and going a little bit more slowly in your actions and more intentionally is what's going to help you to tap into your feminine energy. Rushing and being super active is a very masculine sign, and there's nothing wrong with that, but balancing it is understanding when there's a time to slow down and nurture yourself. The other thing that's so important when it comes to nurturing yourself, I for sure think about food. So thinking about what kinds of foods are really nourishing for your body, listening to what your body wants. I know a lot of the times we think our body wants sugar. You'll get the craving like, oh, I really want a Boston cream. I'm gonna go to Timmy's and go and get a donut. I just gave away that I'm Canadian, so hard. And that's fine, and there's a time and place to indulge in that pleasure, but it's also understanding that, that your body shows you signs that you may need to have more fruits and vegetables, you may need to be drinking more water. And with that, I'm gonna take a sip of water. Very important. So that's what nourishing means to me. It means going a little bit slow, listening to what kinds of foods my body wants, listening to when my body wants me to slow down. If you've ever found yourself in a moment where your body starts to feel like tingly or numb, or you have like a random shooting pain happen somewhere within your body, listen to it. It's a sign that you need to slow down. It's a sign that you need to apply pressure to that area, rest that area, push your feet up on the couch for a few minutes, and go into that state of being, which is so important when it comes to divine feminine energy. And that brings me to my next point, which is slowing down and resting. So we as a society have this go, go, go mentality, understanding that it's important, it's just as important in our progress to take the time to rest as it is to act and do. That action, that taking inspired daily action is something that the masculine is going to handle, and the feminine is taking breaks in between your tasks, which is a really great way to be more productive throughout your day, to accomplish it as a whole so that your energy feels balanced. So in Abrahamic religions, there is a Sabbath day. In Judaism, we observe the Sabbath on the Friday night called Shabbat. Christians observe it on Sunday. And this is an understanding of the importance of taking a day to rest and get centered with your inner God, your inner god or goddess. So when you take that one day off a week, it's a true day of rest. You're not plugged into your computer, you're not plugged into your phone and what's happening on Instagram and scrolling through. I know it's very difficult. I myself have struggled with completely unplugging on those days, but it's very necessary for nourishing yourself, which we already talked about, and getting yourself set up for success for the upcoming week. So taking a look at what you can do on those days is going to be those nourishing factors, taking that bath, eating healthy foods, perhaps listening to music, praying, doing some manifestation work, doing some shadow work, inner healing work. Whatever genuinely feels right for you when it comes to rest. Maybe it's just sleeping. Maybe it's just that you genuinely just need to nap. That's okay. That's an important part of your progress so that your body can regenerate. And again, move right into action, move right into that masculine energy when you really need to. Another amazing way to tap into your feminine energy is to create, to really get in touch with your inner artist. I know some people don't feel like they're creative or they're artistic, and that's where the Kundalini energy comes back into play. So Kundalini energy is all about creative energy. It's that sex energy, that sacral energy. So when we think about the sacral chakra, that rules not only physical sex, but it rules creation, which is really one and the same, because sex originally is meant to create. It's meant to reproduce. So that being said, taking a look at perhaps some of the things that you like to do as a child that were creative and not judging yourself for how you do it is going to be super beneficial for you to tap into your divine feminine energy. So that can look like writing, drawing, sketching, painting. It can look like manifesting, spending time with manifestation, writing down your letter to the universe and scripting. It can look like creating jewelry or scrapbooking or making clothing. It can be playing music. It can be singing. It's really genuinely anything that you are making. Baking, that's another thing. Baking, cooking, these are all creative skills, and you don't have to be the best at it. You don't have to go and monetize your creative skills. It's just about doing it and really enjoying the process that's going to help you to tap into your feminine energy. So on the topic of creative, sexual, sacral energy, it's really imperative that you tap into your sexual energy and allow yourself to experience and enjoy sexual pleasure. Now, there's something that your mother may not have told you. But to that point, learning more about what you enjoy, learning more about Tantra and sacred sexuality can be an important aspect of you tapping into your divine feminine energy. One of the easiest ways that you can tap into that is actually by dancing, using the art of the dance, the sensual dances like Latin dance, bachata, I'm pretty sure is how you say it, correct me if I'm wrong, belly dancing, pole dancing. Those are things that are going to help you to move that energy through your body and to really allow your creative and sexual expression to come through. But it's very important that I add in with this, not to judge what comes up for yourself. I think the society as a whole is so over-sexualized because we have demonized sexuality in a way that we can't look at it as this healthy, natural thing. And the more that we understand that it is such a healthy, natural part of ourselves that connects us to our higher power and our higher selves, the more that we understand how sacred it is, and the less there is to judge. The more that you work on removing guilt and shame around that energy, around your sacral sexual creative energy, the more room you have to be able to flow and surrender, which is the next part of tapping into the divine feminine that I want you to really focus on. Now, here's the thing. A lot of us, we consider surrender to be defeat. And I'm here to tell you that surrender is one of the most important and most powerful, potent ingredients, and probably the last step that you need to take before your manifestations come to fruition. But surrendering takes a lot of trust. It takes trust in your intuition, which again can be experienced through your womb as well as your third eye. But it's really truly that trust in something beyond yourself. For me, it's believing in angels or believing in God and placing that trust and that strength in them to help me get through those final steps before I come to whatever it is that I desire or I need help with. Going with the flow is something that tends to be easier for the signs that are more feminine, particularly water signs like Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. You have an easier time going with the flow. But for the rest of us, for the fiery people, especially like myself, who is a Leo, it can be really tricky to go with the flow. But understanding that the more that we are focused in what we're doing in the present moment is what flow is truly all about, the more we can see how beneficial it is to the overall process and the enjoyment of life. So now I'm going to take some questions that I received from my TikTok live stream. So if you're not following me there, make sure you go and follow me on TikTok. I post almost daily there. So the first question that I got was, how can you use your environment to amplify the divine feminine? So I have a video series on TikTok called Manifesting with the Elements that can be really great to use as background information on this. So one of the basic things that I discuss in that is understanding what the elements are. And again, tapping into your sun sign and knowing your astrology, you can use the element of your sun sign, which is your soul, your core, to help you to ground yourself. So for me, because I am a Leo and I'm a fire sign, I tend to work really well with the element of fire. So having candles or incense burning, or burning my manifestations, aka like writing a script and then burning it and placing it in a fire safe proof bowl. I have a whole video, like I said, on this stuff, so go and check that out. And generally speaking, spending time in nature is the best way for you to tap into your divine feminine. We call it Mother Nature for a reason, Gaia. Gaia is the earth goddess. So when we understand that, the more that we can understand how fertility and abundance in creation comes to be. So it is February in Canada. It's quite cold. I believe it's minus 18 degrees Celsius today with the wind chill. But I highly recommend bundling up regardless and spending even just a few minutes outside with Mother Nature to connect with your divine feminine on a daily basis. It's really important for getting you back into your meridian body, which is your energetic body, and for allowing you to receive from the universe. Generally speaking, I think it's so important to wear things that make you feel beautiful, and that doesn't have to be a lacy outfit like what I'm wearing right now. It's whatever makes you feel beautiful is going to help you to tap into your divine feminine more and more. From my own standpoint though, I definitely would say things like lace, lighter colors can be very feminine. I don't personally choose to wear a lot of lighter pastel colors because they're not really within my personal style, but that's exactly why I think it's so important to find what you feel really beautiful in, what fits you really well, and I mean physically, like good, well-fitting clothing, and also clothing that you genuinely feel your personality comes through. The next question is, are the divine feminine and Kundalini energy the same or different? So I talked about this a little bit earlier, but essentially the Kundalini is a life force energy. The feminine is the one aspect of the Kundalini energy, the other aspect being the masculine. So they are, I wouldn't say different, it's just that divine and feminine energy is what Kundalini energy is composed of. The last question is, how do you look at your divine feminine energy and how do you perceive her? So the first thing that I have to say is spending time in stillness and spending time in meditation. So that's where slowing down and resting and spending time in nature is going to be so important for this. And truly spending those few minutes every day just focusing on your breath and kind of centering yourself is what's going to allow you to speak to your body and listen to your body and figure out what it needs when it comes to nourishment, when it comes to healing, and that's very key. And everyone has just even 5 minutes before you wake before you go to sleep or when you wake up. And I actually share guided meditations here on YouTube, and I also do bi-weekly guided meditations for the new moon and full moon of every month. They're guided meditation workshops. In those guided meditations, we connect to the energy of the new or full moon, which is a very feminine energy. They're open to everyone. I make these meditations very suitable for all levels. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to my website and you can get your ticket for the upcoming guided meditation. Other aspect that I want to talk about when it comes to looking at your divine feminine energy is actually connecting with your yoni if you have a yoni. So spending time with your pants down and taking a look at it, take a mirror and take a look at it and speak to it and tell it what it needs to hear. Feminine energy is very much about forgiveness. And like I said earlier, there's so much sexual shame that has occurred for thousands of years. So the more that you're able to connect with your physical body on that level and connect to what pleasure means for you and removing that shame, once again, is going to be so powerful for you to tap into. So with all of that being said, I feel like I could go on and on and on about divine feminine energy and really tapping into that and embracing your inner goddess. If you guys would like to know more about this, you can always comment below and like this video and let me know your questions. I would definitely be very open to opening somewhat of a workshop or a course around this kind of thing in the future. So if that interests you, let me know below as well, and I'll keep you updated on that on my website. So make sure that you subscribe to my email list. And I basically also send out some astrology updates during the week on that, and let you know about the lunar meditations and my book, Lighting the Way Through Manifestation, which is now available on Amazon, Kindle, as well as my website. So if all that sounds good to you, thank you for your support. And otherwise, I wish you all the best and all of the most healing energy as you tap into your higher self. And thank you guys for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Stay golden.